Hello, welcome to HI 152, which is American History since Reconstruction or since 1877. I am Scott Roth. I will be your instructor for the term. I wanted to introduce myself, introduce a few things about the class, things that will help you, as well as some of the content and some of the tools that I provide. Now, real quick on my background, I earned my Bachelor of Arts in History from the University of Nebraska at Kearney. I earned a Master of Arts in Leadership from Bellevue University and a Master of Arts in American History from the University of Memphis. I have been teaching at Bellevue for over a decade as a full-time instructor for about 4 or 5 years. Before that, I worked in administration. Now, I want to talk about some keys to success in this class, and this really transcends this class for any class at this level. Start with communication. Please make sure to check your Bellevue email. Blackboard defaults to your Bellevue email. You can have it forwarded to a personal email, that's great, but it is essential that you read your Bellevue email because that is where key communications come from me. They might be individual emails to you alone, they might be individuals to the entire class, but I include important information on there. Along these lines, please make sure to read the announcements. Each week on the front page, you will see an announcement detailing what's going on that week. But also within these announcements, I include my video lectures, which are important for detail on these classes, as well as generally I'll answer at least one of the discussion board questions each week on there. So that will be to your benefit. A third part of this is feedback. Please make sure to read my feedback in Blackboard. I provide quite a bit of comments on each weekly assignment in an attempt to help you understand what I'm looking for, what can make your post better, make you kind of question some things and maybe look at it in a different way. There are all kinds of different things that I'm doing there. Additionally, I will ask questions on the discussion board. Please feel free to answer. But please utilize my feedback because it's there for you. I provide it to help you improve both in this class and give you ideas for other classes as well. Participation is necessary, right? On the discussion board, a minimum of 3 substantive replies is required each week. Students learn from each other quite a bit. So when you have a point of view and you share your thoughts on the discussion board, it may give somebody a new insight. I hadn't thought of that. So it is important that we share our thoughts, engage these topics, add to the conversation, right? Proper source material. Anybody who has taken the class with me knows this is something I emphasize, especially at this level. This is a survey class, so some of you are just kind of getting your feet wet. Maybe you haven't written a formal paper. One of the keys, of course, is using proper sources. In the course documents section, I provide a handful of tools for you, but one of them is what is a scholarly source, and this details it. To be rather quick on this, websites in general should be eschewed. Let's avoid those. No Encyclopedia Britannica.com, history.com, biography.com, Wikipedia. These are things that we might go to get some quick facts, right? But the study of history is about more than just facts and dates. Regardless, they don't provide the type of scholarly analysis you need at this level. Part 2 of this is citation. Please make sure to cite appropriately. You want to give credit to your source. You avoid plagiarism, but more importantly, you give credit to the scholar who has spent an entire life analyzing this and learning it, right? So this also, again, is important. For details on this, I recommend the Purdue OWL website. It will give you an idea on what proper APA formatting is, what you should cite, that kind of thing. This is a very challenging aspect of getting involved in writing papers at this level. I will do my best to help, and please, any questions, let me know. Critical thinking, engage these topics and sources critically. Take a deeper look at things. Be willing to wonder if that historian is accurate in his or her interpretation. Eek, historians aren't always right. Trust but verify. Context is at the center of the study of history. What was going on at the time? And this is so important because it helps us recognize why did people do the things that they did when they did them, right? So we might look back and it's easy for us to judge people from past eras, but they didn't have the same moral or ethical compass that we do today. And to judge them on our current merits, I think is problematic, and historians in general would tell you that. One of the things I say to students is in 100 to 150 years, somebody's going to look back and judge you for something you did that you thought was just fine. should you be held accountable to their standards. Beyond context, also, this is something I emphasize each term, the facts of history are not really in doubt, right? What happened, happened. So it's not about learning the what, it's about learning the why. Motivations, for example. Why did people do the things they did? So look past just the what, get to the why. Another example, or another thing that is necessary, make sure you read instructions. If you have questions, you can contact me, but every term I witness at least a few students not following instructions for a major assignment, and it will hurt their grade. So please make sure you read all instructions. As mentioned, I have provided some tools for you, and these are in the course documents section, which can be found on the left side of Blackboard. For example, there is a folder entitled Writing Assistance. Included in this are tips for good writing, which is a general rubric for writing. What is a scholarly source? The final paper is an annotated bibliography, so in the toolbox I also include extra instructions, how to write an annotated bibliography, as well as a sample annotated bibliography. All these things are there to help you succeed in this class. Another important tool that I highly emphasize, or highly recommend if you will, are my video lectures. I provide these in the announcements each week to match the weekly topics. These provide more of the detail on what's going on. The text provides an overview, right? The text is, for example, is not an appropriate source because it is a general analysis or a synthesis, if you will. My video lectures will detail things. For example, when we get to the 1960s, I have video lectures on the counterculture, on the student movement, on various aspects of the civil rights movement. There's a lot going on, and it's important to get into these details. Now, the content of the class, there are 2 survey classes in American history, up to 1877 and after 1877. This is after 1877, and it truly involves some of the more interesting topics in our history. Now, 1877 is the end of Reconstruction. That is why this is the traditional marker or dividing line in the study. The text goes up, I think, past 2000. I don't go past 2000. My video lectures actually don't even go past 1989 because generally it takes at least a generation between an event and when proper historical analysis can be conducted. But this is an important time in our history. During this time, after 1877, we see the rise of our industrial economy. This will lead us to world power status in the next century. Forays into imperialism toward the end of the 19th century. The rise of American progressivism at the beginning of the 20th century. Of course, there are 2 world wars. There is a depression and the New Deal. Then we get to the stuff after World War II, which is really impactful on how we live today. The Cold War, the Civil Rights Movement, the Students' Movement, the women's movement, the counterculture. There are a variety of movements. There is the LGBTQ plus movement, which will truly take off during the 60s. You have Cesar Chavez and the work he did with migrant laborers. There are so many important movements that we see in the 1960s. That is the zeitgeist, the spirit of the age. And that is the decade that defines modern America more than any other. So our closed class essentially goes from 1877 to 1989, meaning that all topics we study and all paper topics will fall within these parameters. Topics must be American in nature and fall within this time frame. For example, you may love the Civil War. Great, I do too. I teach the Civil War class and I love it. I will talk Civil War to the end of time, but it is not an appropriate paper topic for this class, right? Because it happened before this class. The rise of Nazism, quite interesting. That's a German phenomenon, right? The Russian Revolution, yes, it impacted World War I and World War II, which we were part of, but it is not American history. And no papers on 9/11 or current events. Again, I know this is of great interest, but we are not there from a historical standpoint yet. All right, that's it. I look forward to getting started with the term. This has the potential to be a great class, but it requires you and me to work hard on this. Please look ahead at the assignments, peruse the syllabus. If you have any questions, please email me. I look forward to getting the term.